You've got some already, right?
They got some already, but now they want the personal stuff.
Well, I came to Kelowna in 1980. My wife and I came here. We'd been married for 65 years. And she died 9 years ago. I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. A boy in Rocky Mountain House, and a daughter in a daughter and a son in Vancouver Island. My other daughter's in, she just moved to Rocky Mountain, not Rocky Mountain, what the hell? Southeastern Alberta. It's about 200 km from Calgary. Oh, you know what? It's got a real odd name, like most of them. That's about it, I think.
Yeah.
It's really good. Thank you. Yeah, it's like you're talking to the friend, like something. Because when my son says, "Wow, it's 97 years, grandpa." Oh, like this. So don't, not very seriously. We just like talk, like a family talking. You told me story about something. Yeah. 下一个问题。
So where do you or your family come from?
We come from Ireland. Oh, and my family are all from here, but I came from Ireland. I went to England before World War II in 1937. I think that's before your time.
Yeah, of course.
I stayed there. I was in the British Navy during the war, and we went down to Africa and Italy, all through the Mediterranean into Egypt. After the war, I got back to England. They were still on rationing, so I said, to heck with it, I'm leaving here. So I came across to Canada and joined the army in 1946.
So you came to Canada with the army?
No, I was working on board a ship. I joined the army after I came to Canada.
Oh, so why you came to Canada?
During when the war first started in England, I was just 12 years old, and they came because of the bombing. They came around to the schools around London, and they asked us if we had to leave the country, where would we like to go? They gave us a choice of South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, or Canada. I picked Canada, and after the war, I came over here. There was so much bombing going on. I was just outside London, and I spent half our school time down in the air raid shelter.
You came to Canada by yourself, or with your family?
No, on my own.
Oh.
I had a sister in California, 3 sisters in England, and my brother was in England, but I didn't want to stay there. I came over here instead.
So, they are still in London now?
Yeah, very close to London. A little town called Weybridge in Surrey. You know where it is.
Why you came to Kelowna?
My daughter phoned me. She was living here at the time, and I was living on the island. And she phoned, and her mother answered the phone, and she says, "Hello, Gran." Right away, we knew we were grandparents, and they got talking, and my wife said, "I think we should move to Kelowna." So we moved to Kelowna.
Oh.
That same girl who was born then is now a mother of her own. I have a great granddaughter. It's
Do you think, are there any differences the life you came when you came to Canada to that now? What changes a lot do you think in Canada, in Kelowna? Sorry, Kelowna.
It's huge.
What's that?
Well, I was only in England 2 years when World War II started, so I didn't know what England lived like in peacetime. So when I got back from the Middle East, that's why I came to Canada.
So what are your impressions of the Kelowna?
Pardon?
Impressions.
Oh,
Impressions.
oh, impressions. Oh, okay.
When you,
Of
when you
Kelowna.
first came.
It's okay. To me, I've traveled so much. One town's the same as another. Unless I get to a big city like Montreal or Toronto or something like that. I don't care for that. Even Victoria is too big. And Kelowna is getting that way now. It's getting too big.
Since you came to Canada from England, how do you view the multiculturalism in Canada? How do you think of that?
What do you think of multiculturalism in Canada
Yeah.
I'm
and
not.
in Kelowna?
All the time I've been here now, what, 24 years? No, 44 years. And I don't get around a lot because at my age I'm not a social bird. But my wife is Ukrainian, and I know a lot of people here are from all over the place. But multiculturalism is fine. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. I have a friend here. She's Oriental. She's from Vancouver, but her father came over from China in the early 1900s, and we're great friends. That's Candace.
Are there any particularly cherished memory or experience?
Sorry?
Are there any particular
memory?
You mean in Kelowna or
Yeah.
from Ireland?
Yeah.
From his
Yeah.
childhood in Ireland?
Kelowna.
Okay. Are there any particularly important, cherished memories about Kelowna that you have going back from when you first came? And
No, except that I miss my wife a lot, that's all.
You meet your wife here?
Of course not.
Pardon?
what were some of the things you did with your kids when you were in Kelowna? Any cherished memories about trips, travels, things you did in Kelowna?
No,
Picnics, that kind of. You have to look at the camera over there.
Oh, I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
No, my younger son is an economist, and he was in on the construction of the dam up, I'm trying to think of the name of it, up in northern BC. He lived here, but it was only a transient relationship because he had his wife with him. And my daughter, it's her daughter that lives here now. And she lives in Medicine Hat, Alberta.
That's a good one. Regarding St. Patrick's Day, how did you celebrate it? And what significance do you attribute to this traditional holiday? Like, why is it important to remember? And how did you celebrate it?
Well, we had a walking group we had. And it was a get-together and a meal. But in Ireland, when I was a boy, St. Patrick's Day was a religious holiday. There were none of these fancy parties or parades or anything like that. The first time I saw the St. Patrick's Day parade was in Montreal in 1947. And I could, what are all these Frenchmen doing celebrating an Irish holiday? That's what it was. In Ireland, they probably changed it now. But when I was a boy, you had to go to church and that was it.
So the way you celebrate the Patrick Day is different from that in Ireland.
Oh, it was totally different. I've never been to St. Patrick's Day in 70, 80 years. But there were no parades in Ireland and on those days. They probably are now, but when I was a boy, there were no parades. You had to go to church. That was the first thing.
But I heard your friend told me this year your celebration Joseph Day, St. Patrick Day, go to some restaurant.
So they want to know what you did this St. Patrick. You went with friends to the pub and this Irish menu you had.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so tell them that to the camera.
We went to a communal lunch. There were, I think, 18 of us there, I believe. And there were only 4 men and the rest were girls, or women as the case may be. And we had a big Irish food and drinks, and it lasted about 2 hours, I guess. Then I came home here and kept being good.
Because you can cut it and edit it afterwards.
Yeah,
put it-
yeah, of course. Is there any place that's special for you in Kelowna? Is there any such space?
No,
Such place?
that place was 97th Street, they called it, where we were. 97th Street pub.
Yes.
I'm not a social person because I've been on my own for so long. I don't go out much.
So she's asking you, not at St. Patrick's Day, but in Kelowna,
Mm-hmm.
is there any historical place with history? You go to the military museum, right? Is there any special place of significance for you in
Maybe to
Kelowna?
you or to your family?
Yeah.
No, the only place I go to is what's that place where I'm trying to think of the name of it. We play cards there on a Thursday.
You go to the
Paddington
Legion?
Center?
Pardon?
Paddington Center?
Yes,
Paddington Senior Center.
that's right.
So you go there to play card?
That's right. On a Thursday we play
Every
cards there.
Thursday.
We play euchre or cribbage. And it's about once a week on Thursday afternoon for about 3 hours.
This the card is like islands the game or traditional some game. So what is the kind of card you play?
It's cribbage and euchre is the name of the games.
Oh,
There's no gambling.
okay.
So if you were to put that together and you started that a little bit over and you said that one of the places you enjoy going to in Kelowna is Parkinson Rec Center and you play cribbage and euchre there every Thursday. And if you looked at the camera and said that, they could use that as one bit, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Every Thursday afternoon we go to Parkinson Rec Center. We play cards euchre and cribbage. And it's usually good for about 3 hours. Then I come home and I start making my own supper on the end of the day.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm not a very good interviewer.
You're doing very well. It's very
So
interesting.
This
It's great.
is the secret maintaining healthy about you play the card.
Pardon?
Do you have
Okay, so considering your venerable age of 97,
Oh, God.
right? How do you keep young? How do you maintain your well-being, your health? And how do you sustain your vitality? I know how. You surround yourself with women all the time in the group.
Hopefully.
Okay, now say something repeatable into the camera like that. That's your question. When Carol's ready for you.
Yeah. Just
let
say.
you walk.
I do my walking every morning about 6 o'clock. Do what, 5 or 6K.
Where do you go?
Just around the area here and in the back. Is that the name of that place?
Munson Pond.
Munson Pond is behind us here. That's an extra 3 or 4K. When I finish that, then my next problem is come home and I have to make my lunch. And I was never a cook by any means.
What kind of food in your country, your back country, your hometown, the traditional food?
Oh,
the
God,
favorite food.
Irish
Ireland.
food.
Ireland.
Feeding, as long as I have a can opener, I'm an amazing cook.
I know your wife can cook very well, but what is your favorite food you like? Ireland.
What was your favorite food in Ireland that was traditional?
I couldn't tell you.
Look at the camera, right?
I couldn't say the favorite food in Ireland because they didn't, because the worldwide depression was on at the time in 1935-30. I spent 5 years in an orphanage, and you didn't have any choice there. What you got in the morning, that was what you got, and you had no say in it whatsoever. And I got out of there, and I lived with an aunt of mine for 2 years, and she had no children, and she just said, "Oh, you do here, you just." I had to deliver papers and deliver milk for a penny a week, and I was supposed to save a half of that. So a halfpenny a week went into my savings bank, which left a lot to be desired.
What's your dream food you want to get?
Wow. So if you went to an Irish pub, what would be on the menu?
Well,
Tell the camera. Yeah.
I haven't been to an Irish pub for so long I couldn't tell you. It's not a drinking establishment per se. It's primarily a social place. People go there just to get to know each other. Not like over here where they go in there and they want to get hammered or drunk. But in Ireland, it's the same as it is in England. They all go in there. You can bring your dog, you can bring your children in there. Over here, you can't do that. When I first go into a pub in Montreal in 1947, I went up to the bar and said, "Can I have a beer?" He says, "No, we can't." I said, "Why?" "You have to sit down. You are not allowed to go and get your beer. They had to serve it to you." In England, it's the other way. If you can't get to the bar, they think you've had enough. Get out. That was it.
Yeah, we want to know the different.
Yeah, that's
really,
the difference.
This is the things we want to know different.
Yeah, that's
Ireland,
an
Corona,
interesting
different.
difference.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a very interesting thing. You can
Yeah.
talk more about the
Yeah.
different.
What's the difference between? Well, Patrick has not been to Ireland for many years, right? So when you first came, what was the biggest striking difference? Obviously the food, right? Because there was food. What was the biggest cultural difference? And you got to tell the camera.
In terms of association or eating or what?
Anything.
Anything.
The biggest differences, was it the weather? Was it the food? The people? Were people friendlier?
The people were about the same, but the social establishment was totally different. In England, we used to go to dances, and you could go to a dance hall on the Saturday night there, and they had a ladies' invitation dance. You didn't have to ask a girl to dance. They would come up and ask you, which is, to me, is great. And then when I went to the Yukon, I spent 3 years in the Yukon. It was a totally different thing there. When I first got back I went to Ireland in 1949. And when I came back from Ireland, the Sergeant Major met me at the camp, and he said, "Are you packed or unpacked?" I said, "I'm just going to unpack." He said, "Don't worry." He says, "You leave it because you're going to the Yukon tomorrow night." I said, "Where's that?" I wasn't aware of geographically where it was. He said, it's 3 days by train and 3 days by truck. And that's what I did. And I had to stay in Edmonton because that's where the train stopped for going to the Yukon. And that's where I met my wife. And a year later we got married, and we were together for 65 years. 1950 to 2015.
How long are you living in Kelowna? How long are you living in Kelowna?
I came here in 1980,
80.
so that's 44 years now.
Yeah, it's long term.
And it's Kelowna has grown immensely. When I came here, I think the population was about 41 or 42,000. It's over 100,000 now. And the tallest building when I came, it was 3 stories. Now they're down there 23 and 25 stories. That's how much change there is in the city of Kelowna.
So in Kelowna, you work or not? You already retired in Kelowna when you moved Kelowna.
Oh yeah, no, I retired. When I retired, I was stationed in Wainwright in Alberta. And I was living in Calgary, but I had 2 sons going to university, so I had to live in the warrant officer's quarters. And every weekend I did drive from Wainwright to Calgary, which is 305 miles one way. Every weekend was 610 miles. But the reason I got out of the army, I liked it, but I had to get out because I couldn't afford to live in quarters there and pay for my son's university at the same time. So my 2 sons now, the oldest is a retired chemical engineer and the youngest is a retired economist. So they're doing great.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Finito.
Finito. Well done, Patrick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Italian.